Ten Commandments, the Constitution, computers for dummies, the cat in the hat. What do all these documents have in common? Well, despite their varying levels of importance, they are all preserved for generations to come by use of a wonderful tool called the alphabet. We all use the alphabet every day. Whether in English class or algebra, we come into contact with our lettering system over and over again. In my own life, I've often found it easier to communicate what I'm thinking or feeling by use of the written word. Have you ever been in an argument with someone, and instead of calling them to apologize, you write them a letter to make sure that each word is perfect, or you send an email to that certain person you have a crush on and painstakingly deliberate over each and every word? Without the alphabet, our lives as we know them would be completely different. And even though we are all grown up now, today, boys and girls, we are going to learn about our ABCs. I am going to take you on an alphabet journey. You will soon understand the alphabet in its basic form, the alphabet in Greek and Roman society, and the alphabet as we know and understand it today. It all started 5,200 years ago with the beginnings, symbols, shapes, and pictures. The people of Sumeria were among the first to start on this alphabet journey. They made use of a system called cuneiform, which was composed of 600 common signs. Cuneiform literally means wedge-shaped because of the triangle, crosses, and slashes that make up its letters. According to Dan Vergano in USA Today, in 3200 BC, civilizations began putting cuneiform on clay tablets. And what started out with everyday topics soon branched to more abstract and complex thoughts. Now, we've all heard of this next group. The Egyptians, as we've seen pictures in mummies and tombs, made use of a system called hieroglyphics. In his article, Alphabetic Literacy and the Revitalization of the Liberal Arts, David Mulroy said that there are 604 picture representations used in the Egyptian hieroglyphic system. They made use of a system called pictographs, or picture writing, but this could be very limiting. For example, if I wanted to say, it rained, I could draw a picture of me getting rained on. But if I wanted to say, it rained yesterday, that became more difficult. And that's when they introduced logograms, or representations of words without exactly symbolizing them. And this expanded on the pictograph system. Now I could use the logogram for yesterday, a circle with a line underneath it, and combine it with a pictograph to say, it rained yesterday. As it seemed to be the trend, the Egyptians borrowed from the Sumerians, and the Jewish people took from the Egyptians. However, the Jewish people were not as well educated as the Egyptians, so they could only borrow their hieroglyphics of the most common forms. But it is commonly known that the Jewish Proto-Sinaitic script was the first alphabet writing system. They made use of a series of symbols to represent an object. For example, if I wanted to spell bug, I could say that by placing a letter, the bike symbol, which represented the B sound, the umbrella symbol representing the U, and guitar for the G sound, together to spell bug. These first lettering systems, cuneiform, hieroglyphics, Proto-Sinaitic script, all made way for the Greek and Roman alphabets. In my next point, the next step, letters of the Greek and Roman alphabets. Now, for those of us at Olivet Nazarene University, we don't come into contact with the Greek letters every day. But if we went to another school, it might be very common to walk by and see these, the letters of the Greek alphabet, every day, to and from class. The Greeks borrowed signs from the Phoenicians, and after assigning Phoenician symbols to their consonant sounds, they created vowels and said, why not? Let's make some. So they made A, E, I, O, and U with the remaining sounds. The alphabet revolutionized Greek society. Before the creation of the alphabet, Greek society was almost extinct. There was no evidence of large cities, prosperous trade, foreign architecture, or art, and no writing form had survived. But after the creation of the alphabet, there were many great literary masterpieces like Homer's epics and the philosophical works of Plato and Aristotle. The Romans were the next to jump on the alphabet bandwagon, and they created and adapted the Greek alphabet to fit their needs. They used the same order and sound value, but shortened the letters. For example, the Greek alpha became A, and beta became B. And the word alphabet actually comes from the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, alpha and beta. The Romans removed and resubmitted the letters of the alphabet to fit their needs. For example, at one point in time, they thought that Z was no longer necessary, so they took it out. But later, they found that it was and placed it at the very end of the alphabet. The societal effects of the alphabet on the Romans were a little different than the Greeks. They were more practical in their usage, and, for example, it was very common to find libraries in each and every home. And they could also be referred to perhaps as the first Fisher-Price because they were the first to carve letters into toys to stimulate childhood development. And the alphabet spurred on the educational system of the Romans, which we also take place in today. So it was the Romans who finally shaped the alphabet into the very basic form as we know and understand it today. And my final point, today, the alphabet in our modern world. All of the work of the Sumerians, Egyptians, Jews, Greeks, and Romans paid off because today nearly all languages make use of a written alphabet. The Solomon Island alphabet is the smallest with 11 letters. But we also, for us in our United States, we have the Hawaiian alphabet, which is composed of 12 letters, A, E, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, W, and U. But also, the Khmer alphabet in Cambodia is composed of 72 letters. Can you imagine going to kindergarten and being asked to learn all these letters? I think that I would quit before I even started. And just as an added bonus, and according to Harvey McGavin in the Times Educational Supplement, in the 1940s, the famous playwright George Bernard Shaw advocated adding another 14 letters to our alphabet system. And I'm really glad that his plan was rejected. From the ancient days of using the alphabet to communicate, it rained, to today, the alphabet has changed and evolved in its usage. According to Dr. Robert Logan in his book, The Alphabet Effect, he said that there has been a change in the role of the alphabet. For now, also, the alphabet has been used as a system of classification. We use the alphabet to alphabetize and to chronological order things, and also, especially as college students, we assign value to certain letters of the alphabet as we receive different grades, A's and B's, and hopefully no more than that. The alphabets have also been created for entertainment. Mark Okrand created a Klingon alphabet which made use of Klingon letters and published his own dictionary. And also J.R.R. Tolkien recently in The Lord of the Rings made use of an Elfish language and alphabet. So in conclusion, with its 5 vowels and 21 consonants, the alphabet we know and utilize today is the result of a long and complex process spanning over 5,000 years in many different civilizations. So the next time you're reading through the Constitution and American government or composing that email to your special someone, stop and remember the tools by which your communication is made possible. The alphabet, according to Dr. Philip Heady in the Near East in History, is generally considered to be one of the greatest inventions ever made by man. With its 26 simple letters, we hold the power to design governments, create and record history, and impart knowledge. What an invention!